Hello friends, welcome to Azure session. In today's session, we are going to see how to install and configure the self-hosted integration runtime to ingest the data from on-premise Oracle database into Azure Data Lake. Let me install the integration runtime in on-premise environment. Software installation completed successfully. Next step, we need to configure the integration runtime. To configure this, we require the authentication key. To create a key, go to Azure Data Factory, click on Manage. Inside, you go to Integration Runtime and click on New button here. Here you have a choice to select Azure Self-Hosted Integration and SSIS and Airflow. I'm going to configure Azure Self-Hosted Integration. Select Self-Hosted Integration, continue. Give the name as Self-Hosted IR. Once you created a setup here in the Azure Data Factory, you will get a key. You copy the key here and then come to the software. Here you can enter the authentication key. I'm not configuring HTTP. In the real scenario, you need to configure all other options and click on register. And click on finish button. It is establishing the connection between on-premise into Azure Data Factory. Now our self-hosted integration connected to the cloud. Data Factory demo -abc limited -adf. In the Azure environment, you can see self-hosted integration is in a running state. Next step, you can go ahead and create the required link services. Click on link services, click new button. I'm going to establish a connection in on-prem environment, right? So select Oracle. The host name going to be 421.1521. SID going to be XE. Username sales, and then I'm entering the password. Suppose I should not enter a password, I have to maintain in a key vault. Since it is a demo, I'm directly entering the password here. Connection failed. Let us check why. I have to choose the self-hosted integration. By default, it was auto-resolved integration runtime. Since we are connecting to on-prem, we need to choose self-hosted integration runtime. Then only it go and check my host name. Let me test it again. Connection successful. Hit on weird button. Now our link service created to connect the on-prem database. Once the link service created for on-premise environment, we need to create a link service for the target location, because my target location going to be Azure Data Lake. This is the link service already I created. Since it is a Azure service, here we need to choose the auto resolved integration runtime, because it's a internal within a Azure itself. This is my data lake location. I gave the storage account key here. As I said earlier, we need to use the Azure Key Vault in the practical scenario. Since it is a demo, I am directly using the storage account. Test connection successful. Now we are ready with the link services for the source and target. Next, let us go and create the data set for source and target. I am creating the new data set. First, we are going to create a data set for on-premise environment. I am selecting Oracle as a source data. Oracle sales data is my data set name. Use the link service related to that and select the table name. Sales fact is my table name. Click on OK. Now we are ready with source data. Next, I am going to create a target. Go to dataset creation page. This time it is Gen 2 Data Lake. Link service, I am selecting it as a data lake link service. What is the file path and directory and file name we are going to use it here, that we need to mention. I am going to copy my file in a data lake. Inside the data lake, we have a folder called OLTP sales data. Select it. Here I am giving the file name as, and then dynamic content going to be I am going to save the file in the name of sales underscore data underscore and year month timestamp. It's a comma delimited file. And then test the connection now. Connection successful. Our source and target dataset is ready. Next step, go to pipeline. Create your pipeline now. Copy the activity. I'm going to use the data copy activity. Go to configure your sync. Select the source dataset. Already I selected the source table name. So I'm not doing any changes here for now. Go to sync, select your sync dataset. On the column mapping, click on import schema. and verify column mapping is perfectly matching. If not matching, you can do realign the way you wanted to map the column. Next step, you click on validate button. Pipe validated successfully. There is no error found. Now you debug it. Debug will run without publishing the changes. Meanwhile, I will open my Azure in another window. Let me go to Data Lake. Our copy activity is successful. Here in our Data Lake, we received the file. Let me go and download the file here. Let us go back and do the changes. We are getting the output as a text file, but we need a file in a form of CSV. So come to the target dataset, go and edit the file name. Here we missed out to add the file format. Give .csv. While creating the file, it will create in the name of sales underscore data underscore date time format and then .csv. Here in the pipeline, you no need to change anything here. By default, it will show txt only, but in the file name we gave it as a .csv. That is the priority one. It will ignore the .txt and take it as a .csv format. Now let us debug it one more time. This time suppose we need to get CSV file instead of text file. Debug successful. Go to Data Lake. Here we receive the output file as a CSV format. We installed the integration runtime and configured the integration runtime on the Azure and created link services and created dataset, and now we created the copy activity. But whenever we run this copy activity, it is fetching all the data. But we need the data, delta data alone, whatever the changes happen on the cutoff, particular cutoff date, from that time onwards, we need to fetch the data. Rest of the data we already ingested as part of the previous ingestion. How to do that? Also, after the successful of the data ingestion or the failure of the data ingestion, we need to send a notification to the respective data owner and the technical team. How we can implement this? And one more scenario, if there are multiple files we wanted to ingest periodically, do we really need to create a separate job, ADF job? No, we can handle here itself with the help of metadata driven ingestion framework. In the next session, we will see how to create this metadata driven ingestion framework. With this, let us conclude the session. We will meet in another session. Thank you.